Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely afternoon. Um, a brief about what we are trying to do at the Circle. At the Circle, we are on a mission to create a circle, a network of reinvented schools and after schools across India that are reinventing learning and empowering children to be change makers. That's really where our work is at. We have an incubation program, a 2-year program for entrepreneurs who want to build schools and after schools of their own. We'll fully support you if you have a dream to reinvent learning in the country for children from low income communities. We also have something called the Circle Labs, which does a lot of light touch and short term programming for educators, teachers, innovators, anyone who wants to learn about and contribute to ideas of what the future of schooling can be. This virtual visit is also a part of that effort within the Circle. If you're interested in any of these programs and want to learn more, our applications for incubation actually opens in the next few days. So we are at a really good timeline. If you want to learn more about this, just get in touch with me. You all must have received a lot of mails from me any which way, so you have my mail ID. Um, Today, we are going to embark on a really fascinating journey. We will be going through a virtual walkthrough of the Yellow Train School, which is in Coimbatore. It's a beautiful space. My team had the chance to visit it in December earlier, and I really missed out on going to the school, but I really hope to visit soon. We have the team from Yellow Train joining us. We have Anita ji and Vijaya ji. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so grateful for your time and to learn more about the school. A few norms here. I will quickly open up the chat in a few seconds, and the audiences can put in any sparks that they're having about the school in the chat. We'll start with a quick walkthrough once we hear about the introduction, and around the 2:10 mark, we will also get into an audience interaction with the Yellow Train staff as well as the students. So I think it's over to you, Vijaya. Thank you so much for doing this. And we'd love to know more about the school and how it's really engaging students in their learning. What is it doing differently? And over to you.
Thank you, Ina. And thank you to the Circle for having Yellow Train story shared.
Sorry, I'll just interrupt you a little bit. If you can be a bit louder.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having Yellow Train in your forum to share our stories with many fellow educators. It is a great joy. So before I share anything, I would like you to listen to the video or see the video and listen to a founder speaking. And then after the video, I'll give you more brief about our school.
Okay, great. That was short and sweet. Thank you so much for that. I'll open up the video now. I also just wanted to let the audiences know that the chat is open. So if you want to put in any new quick sparks that you're having about when you're going through the video and the walkthrough, keep putting it in the chat as well as in the Q&A section, and we'll take it up around the 2:10 mark. Just a few things before we go into the video. I've had the chance to look at the video and also hear from my team members about the Yellow Train School. When you go through the video, which is around 26 minutes long, I know that we're in the middle of the day. I want you to just power through, because actually you won't even have to put in that much effort. It is such an engaging video and engaging journey about the school. Some themes that emerged from me, and I want you to also keep these keywords in mind, are land of free humans, an unabashed love for children, guided by faith and not fear, and happy teachers. These are all these powerful ideas that kept emerging for me when I was looking at the video. So I'm sure you'll also notice some other things. Keep these keywords in mind. And when you come back, we'll get a chance to interact with these happy teachers and happy students from the Yellow Train School. So stick around till the end. If you give me a quick second, I'll just share the video. So you'll have to bear with me for a second.
I'm deeply honored to be standing in front of you this evening. I have brought to you a dog-eared, coffee-stained, old book of mine which has been living with me for 20 years. Maybe every one of you have this already and know the story already. Toto Chan. I read this story when I was 12, maybe 14. It's a story of one man's enduring love for children. In his school in Japan, children study in an abandoned railroad carriage in a magical setting, unaware of the imminent war outside. It's 1939 in Japan. And the school is bombed during the war. And one adult survivor, Toto Chan, goes in search of the other survivors from the school and finds that every child, now an adult, is resurrecting the country out of the darkest tragedies of human history. And she wonders, what gave them the hope, the courage, the faith, and the resilience to shine through this darkness? And she traces it back to this one man's love for the children in his fold and how it shaped everyone's destiny. This story wouldn't leave me. I grew up wanting to build a school like this. And I dreamt of a school where every child will be loved, celebrated, and nourished for who they are, irrespective of their ability, irrespective of their strata, color, irrespective of anything else. Yellow Train is a realization of that dream. Today, when you walk into the school, you will see the soul of the school hidden in the laughter of the children, the happy faces of the teachers, and the warmth of our shared energy. But the road to this realization hasn't been easy. It's been long and arduous. I read from Abdul Kalam once where he said, dreams are not what you get in your sleep. Dreams are what don't allow you sleep. So I've been haunted by this dream. But I think I didn't have the courage to give up my safe corporate career and chase this dream. So I spent 12 to 14 years working in the corporate sector and being haunted by this dream. And when my own two daughters arrived and when they started going to school, I came in close contact with the lifeless, soulless method of teaching children, and more than that, the apathy and indifference with which children were treated. Now my dream became a desperation, and one impulsive morning, my husband and I quit our jobs and moved to Coimbatore. We started the kindergarten with 3 children. And when people would walk into our kindergarten, they would find the place beautiful with tree houses and sand pits and little yellow train and hammock and nook and cranny to play and hide. And then they also realized there were no blackboards, no books, and no curriculum. The speed with which they walked in, they walked out. And I realized that if I didn't engage with parents, and I didn't enroll the community, I had no future for this dream. And the parents became an intrinsic part of my story. I started reading with them, I started talking to them. I took my passionate subject of child development into their lives and into their hearts. I know this morning one of you asked Kiran, what about the parents? And when I'm in conferences like this, many schools talk about how their destiny or fate is defined by the mood of the parent. Maybe, but in my own experience of last 10 years, I have come to understand something so phenomenal, and I'm sure all of you will agree with that. There is nobody in this world who loves the child more than the parent, yes or no? There is nobody, no teacher can do that. And if parents have to grow, have to change, have to transform for the sake of that child they love, they will. But they need a champion. And I decided to be that champion. And when you talk to parents, culturally you see when you talk about the future of the child, they are gripped with fear. Why fear? Why not faith? So we started talking to parents about their fears, and talking about our vision and what it can do to their children. It's been 8 years now, and today we have 420 families as part of the community. Deeply convinced that there's more to school life than meeting the phenomena of examination or careers. I want you to now see my children, see my teachers, see the farm where we live an unhurried life, protected from the pace and anxiety of this modern life.
A very warm welcome and good afternoon to you from the land of the free human beings, Yellow Train. I invite you to accompany me as I showcase the salient features of our space on this virtual platform. Our school grew organically from kindergarten to Cambridge A levels in a span of 14 years. Our little ones, the kindergartners, spend their happy time in school in the beautiful traditional Chettinad style building where they are sheltered from the rest of the world, and we attempt to preserve their innocence in a magical fairy tale setting. The decor is kept simple and aesthetic, without any bright or loud colors, and only natural material is used for their play learning. Now let's move to this uniquely styled building that reverberates with the laughter of the children from grades 1 through 5. This is our primary school. The entrance to this building is adorned with an arch that resembles a train and is decorated with stars, sun, and moon welcoming the young minds into this world. The soil was excavated 3 feet below the ground level, and this structure was constructed using bricks made from the same soil. As a result, children experience a pleasant environment throughout the year. The blue river of life, with imprints of leaves contributed by the children during the construction, flows through the corridors and the entire school, connecting and touching the whole community of learners. The snake and ladder play area and the yellow slide and the big ramp are greatly loved by the children, and they eagerly await their turn to utilize the facilities. Let us now take a peek into the classrooms. The classrooms are well ventilated and large. Students sit on the floor as this strengthens their connection with the earth and also enables the creation of a mobile classroom. As the children here are very young, we believe it is unnatural to expect them to stay in one position or posture for long periods of time. They use these small desks we call chowkis to write on, and then stack them up in a corner so that they have adequate space for their movement and circle activities. Lessons in primary are a mix of physical awakening of the body and quiet reflective work or writing work. As we walk out of the primary building, a beautiful plumeria tree with blossoms beckons us. This special and serene setting is placed in one of the 2 open areas which the middle and high school building is built. Before we go into the middle and high school building, I would like to give you a glimpse of a well-equipped playground with basketball courts, football court, volleyball and throwball court, a cricket net, and a vast open ground. This is the primary play area with slides, seesaws, merry-go-round, and a tall monkey bar which the students love to climb and sit on and enjoy the view from the height. Now let's get back to the most exciting feature of the middle and high school building. It is the Bogie Library. It is a testimony to the origin of our school and answers the mystery of the name adopted for the school. This library was built as a tribute to the school from the book that inspired our school, Toto Chan. The library has many stories from how the entire community of parents, teachers, and students came together and pitched tents and waited for its arrival on December 21st. Morning, along as the sun rose, amidst the early morning hues and misty fog, it arrived. The Bogie acquisition project was accomplished by the 8th graders at the time. We were bestowed with 50,000 books as donation from our well-wishers by organizing a marathon on Coimbatre's popular race course. Please join me in observing the other aspects of the building. The ground floor has grade 6 and 7 classrooms and the chemistry and computer labs. The first floor houses 8th and 9th grades along with the physics and biology labs. The landing is the area where our teachers collaborate and work together. Our second floor has 10th, 11th, 12th grade classes. This is the Bothmer room, built primarily for Bothmer gymnastics, which is also used as a multipurpose room. Here we have our assemblies, large group work with students, teacher training sessions, and many other gatherings. As I come to the end of our school tour, I would like to share that our learning spaces are not confined to the buildings and the classrooms. Since we are fortunate to have the school located on a farm, we commute closely with nature during our time in school, with the children and teachers sitting under the shady tree or on the verdant lawn beside the lily pond, watching the frog and fish dart around, or at times in the outdoor classrooms. Thank you for your patient attention during the Yellow Train school tour, and I sincerely hope I was able to help you experience the warmth, joy, and love for learning we attempt to offer at our dear school.
Okay. For a moment, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and imagine what it means to be a child in this frenetic, no time to stand and stare busy world. Children have a packed school life, an even more packed home life, and performance demands made both at home and school, leaving them no room or access to childhood. The rising pediatric illness and disease stand testimony to what we and our times have done to children. Kim John Payne, an author I greatly adore, calls this an undeclared war on childhood. And at Yellow Train, our first promise is unhurried childhood. You don't need to grow up and become an adult too soon. And our children, without the pressures to perform, are fed with an enchanting curriculum of stories, songs, music, art, theater, nourishing life experiences, and abundant opportunities to learn where their heart is. Now they spend 15 years like this in an unhurried fashion. What is our vision? We want to create free-thinking, responsible, compassionate, and competent young adults in the service of themselves and the service of the world. How do we do this? This morning I heard somebody say, some of what the schools are sharing is wonderful, but we'd also like to know, how do you do this? I want to show 3 magical words that we have in our school, And I want to talk about rituals we have around these three magical words. I care, I can, I will. Let me give you this image. When you walk into the school on Monday morning, you will see the teacher standing at the entrance of each class, inviting the children into her fold, giving them a hug and asking, "How are you feeling this morning?" And the child says, "Excited, curious." Maybe somebody says, "I'm angry. I had a fight with someone in the van." And they begin the week by anchoring themselves in their feeling life and the feeling life of the class. And through the day, through the week, through the year, they are brought back to themselves to discover who they are. On Friday evening, we have this beautiful practice. All the teachers and the children, we do this together, where we all write a love letter to ourselves. What do we love about us this week? What did I do? And you'll find some amazing things. Just before I came for this talk, I went to class 7, and one of my short-tempered friends, he's written, "This week I'm so proud of myself because I withheld from kicking Samarth on his face in the football ground." Wonderful, you're aware and you're acknowledging that. So they're constantly brought back to themselves, and that is our first care. Care for myself. And the second care, which is something that I love personally, is the class as a family. Every class is a family. And when I grew up, when I went to school, we had this whole concept of first bencher and the last bencher. And we all know how last benchers felt. In our school, we have this concept, very simple, but gives everybody a level playing field. A circle. In a circle, nobody is inferior, nobody is superior. Everyone has a place in the circle. Whether I know trigonometry, whether I write poetry, whether I can walk, talk, dyslexic, doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you're a teacher or a student. Everyone has a place in the circle. And the circle has two golden rules. The first rule is everyone has a strength and is celebrated. And the second golden rule, which I personally love, is everyone has a struggle and is supported. Yeah, so if a child is not able to write something out, it is your responsibility to help. So these are the two golden rules that holds the circle. And this is the care for the class as a family. And then the care for the world that they live in. And the second magic word is I can. And I think Kiran spoke a lot about it this morning. I just bring you two beautiful perspectives from I can. The first one, ability comes from doing, not watching. We all agree. And I'm sure many of you here are great fans of John Holt, much as I am. And John Holt, in his book, makes a joke. He says, who needs the most practice in speech in school years? Who needs it? The children. Who gets the most practice in speech? The teachers. Isn't it ridiculous? So if you want children to write, give them opportunities to write. If you want them to create, give them opportunities to create. If you want them to speak, give them opportunities to speak. If you want them to problem solve, give them problems to solve. Create opportunities. That's the first aspect of the can. The second aspect of the can that I want to share is this big word, competition. And sometimes parents have asked me, all right, wonderful, you keep your children in this la la land. That's what is a joke that goes on WhatsApp in our school community. But how will they cope with the real world? And I personally don't like this word, cope. We don't want our children to merely cope. We want our children to meet the world and transform it. And I say replace the word competition with competence. The sun shines for everyone. I don't need to steal your sunlight to shine. And we want children to believe there is abundance. We all come from a place of abundance, not scarcity. And that is what we want our children to carry with them when they go to meet the world. And the third one, let me share with you something that happened once in our assembly. There was a Chennai floods and Coimbatore was so close, and we had an assembly and children were doing relief work. And there was one boy, he was at that time in grade 1, and he raises his hands. And I asked him, what is it? And he says, Akka, the government said that they're giving 5,000 crores. Why should we do anything? Now, he doesn't even know what a government is. He doesn't know its spelling. He doesn't know what a crore is. He doesn't even know how many numbers are in 5,000, how many zeros. Is this the kind of mood, is this the kind of apathy and indifference we want our children to go into the world with? And it was such an aha moment for us. So in I Will, we have our children, young children working with their hands to strengthen their will, the primary children working in the farm to strengthen their will, the middle and high school children going into the village and the community and working with it. All of this to have this impulse for action. And I think with these 3 magical words, they can meet the world, they can meet their destiny. Well, somebody can ask me, is it easy? No, it isn't. But I have a theory here. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. I repeat that. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Yeah, now I want to talk about my heroes. Who do you think are my heroes? Who do you think? Teachers, yes, my teachers. We have this t-shirt and we have framed it and put it on the wall. It says, happy teachers will change the world. We learn a lot from Rudolf Steiner, and Rudolf Steiner says, who you are educates the child far more than what you teach. And you project the condition of your soul onto your students. Now, if this is the tall order in front of a teacher, programs on professional development or lesson plan or curriculum or creative discipline alone is grossly insufficient when compared to the tall order put in front of these beings. And in our school, we have this beautiful, beautiful practice, a ritual, a body called Happy Teachers Sangha. Its only raison d'etre is to look at well-being, inner life, spiritual life, emotional life, healing, and happiness of teachers. And when teachers are anchored like this, they understand that the only real anchoring that children need in their care is relationship. Would you all agree? For young children, especially, Steiner says, until the age of 14, 3 to 14, the only real tool that any teacher has is the power of building and sustaining a relationship. And since we care deeply about this, we go to any length to build this relationship. We write letters to them, we visit them in their homes. I'm not joking. I actually brought this letter to read for you. After summer holidays, one of my colleagues has written this to her children. Dear children, this is Chitra Akka from Yellow Train. Hope you all had a great time during the holiday, and I'm sure you all must have grown up a little more. I too had wonderful holidays, and once in a while I would wonder what each one of you are doing. Did anyone tell you Vikram uncle bought a few cows and calves, some more for our farm, and you're going to be delighted to see them. The youngest calf would reach your hip when you stand to pet it, whereas there are calves as tall as you. Last year was one wonderful year where each one of you took such good care of each other, and all the teachers greatly appreciated our family for it. I'm proud of each one of you. Now I have a request to make. Will each one of you watch out for the new children that are coming and help them feel comfortable? There are going to be 7 of them. Do any one of you feel as if you've forgotten certain things which you've learned last year? Maybe you forgot how to do long division, 7 times table. Let me share a secret. Grown-ups also feel like this, especially after a long break. Now, this is the letter that goes to the children. And one of the things, if you come and meet a yellow train parent and ask, what is this one thing that you love about this school? They will say, home visit. Our teachers visit every child in the school. So when we open the school, 2 weeks are kept aside for 40 teachers to visit 400 families. And this is where we put the relationship in. And I want to share with you as a closing note a very deeply personal and moving experience. We had a parent who fought cancer for 4 years and passed on. And 2 days before her passing away, she called 7 of our teachers to the hospital and she said, I am handing over my 7-year-old in your care. And this gives me some peace and rest. And this is where the community puts our teachers. And this is why they are my heroes. Thank you. Let me close with a wish. As young children, we all found some feather or hair and closed our eyes and made a wish. Let me make a wish. Right to education has become part of the national discourse. I wish right to childhood becomes an impulse for educational reform. And I wish that celebrating childhood becomes a preoccupation for every teacher and every school in our country. In the name of children. Thank you.
All right. What a powerful video. That was Sandhya, who is one of the co-founders of the school, such a prolific speaker, and walked us through such an amazing journey. What we could do now is hand it over to the Yellow Train team. Would love for you to speak a little bit more about the school, summarizing for us what was already spoken in the video. What does your day-to-day look like? Anything else that you'd like to add? And I know there are some thoughts that are already in the chat, so we'll bring them in a few seconds, but over to you.
Thank you. So as you all have seen the video, it was very clear what is our philosophy and how we are going about. And there are some changes from the video. It was 6 years ago the video was shot. So now our strength has gone to 720. And our children have finished A levels. 3 batches have passed out.
Yes.
And we have got ranks for all years. So it is a testimony for us that when children are happy and study, they also score well. It is not one doesn't tamper the other's result. So just wanted to bring that also to you so that you are not wondering about what our results are and how the children are doing.
Thank you for all the appreciation and acknowledgement. Excuse me, in the chat box. That was very, very nice to see. It is a sincere attempt from the teachers and the team at Yellow Train to provide a magical childhood, as you saw in the video. And every day we are taking baby steps. And like Vijaya shared, it was an experiment in the beginning, but then we are glad that the results of the experiment have proved to be positive, and we are very happy that our children are doing well in life. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, should we move on to questions now? I know there are a few.
I think so. I mean,
yeah, because the video was clear, I felt about what they're doing in school, but yeah, the questions would be,
Absolutely. So I think I'll take up the first question, which came from more than 2 people in the audience, which is around the seating, the approach you have towards seating. Some people are asking, what is the thought behind the seating progression? Primary sits on the floor and in a circle, but what happens in the higher grades? Or why did you even think of the approach of making students sit in the circle and on the ground in the first place? So what does that look like, the grade progression and the entire approach?
So we started with having children seated on the floor, as we said, because it is a way to earth them, and it is our tradition also to sit on the floor. So we wanted them to be rooted in our tradition and also feel grounded by being on the earth. And also it gives a lot of space to move around when, as we mentioned in the video, that it gives space for them to move and play in the class while learning. And when it comes to higher grades, until 7, we give the same way of seating arrangement. But from 8th grade onwards, we see that the children are little taller. It is difficult for them to sit down, bend, and focus while they are writing. It's painful. So we thought we would now change them to desks. And our desks also are, we have designed it in such a way that we can move them also whenever need be. But however, in higher grades, it is much lesser, the more mobile classroom compared to the lower grades.
Just to add to what Vijay has shared. So the circle is a kind of a shape or a form in which everybody is equal. So that is why we promote sitting in a circle in the lower classes, especially wherever possible, because then every child feels seen and heard by the teacher, and there is a sense of equality in the sharing and in the learning. But as they grow older, then we have to prepare them for the exams, and keeping in mind the preparation for the exams, they have to have desks and they have to have a linear kind of an arrangement in the classrooms.
Okay.
Even there, we have circles during our class circle times, or when we are discussing something. That's why we keep there also, as far as possible, mobile classroom. But when the teacher is teaching, we have this linear setup. So it's easy for.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for answering that. And just I think it makes so much sense to contextualize seating patterns and what would work best for as children are growing up. And the idea of just the circle resonates with us, of course, a lot, because we are called the circle and we are all about leveling the playing field. So that kind of hit close to home. I'll take a few more questions. I know that there are a few notes and questions from Zahid, who's on the call, Show and Heal. Zahid, would you like to come off of mute and ask your question, which is around how do you manage the unhurried approach and also the curriculum? Zahid?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. G, and thank you so much for your fabulous school. Like I said, I think every politician should attend your school, and we need this type of learning for adults. And yeah, so I truly appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you. And so my question is, how do you integrate everything, like the spiritual aspects, the physical, emotional, mental, on top of the academics? Because as I've been trying to implement programs myself into government schools or other programs, the teachers are overworked. They're barely able to complete their assigned curriculum. And so yoga, for instance, becomes a once a year International Yoga Day when it's not something that's part of this holistic curriculum. So I wanted to know, how do you manage this on top of also, the students are excelling in the academics? Thank you.
Thank you. So we do it in primary, and until 7, we have something called block system. So our timetable is not packed every day with multiple subjects. Instead, a class will focus on a particular subject for a month, and that subject is given 1.5 hours. So that 1.5 hours, they really go in depth in that subject. And then they only meet it as a practice block, which is 45 minutes in the other months. So this way we are not having, so our timetable looks like one main lesson. We call it the main lesson of the day. After the main lesson, we have a breathe out, like a artistic activity. And then we come back to a practice session, and then another activity and another practice session. So this is how our day's rhythm looks. And that is why we are able to finish the curriculum and at the same time give enough time for children's emotional and social life to flourish here. So, and another key thing that you would have heard from the video was the relation that teachers build with children. That is at the heart of our classrooms. So each teacher is concerned and preoccupied with how the children are in her fold or his fold. So invariably, we find times. It's not that it is timetabled necessarily, but we teachers make that attempt and find times even outside, like during their break, our break time. We go through their writings and we see what is this child living with, and we have one-on-one conversations. In younger age, we bring healing stories for them through our lessons. So there are many ways we address children. As we said, children are at the center for us. And when we see that when we put them at the center and we revolve everything around it, they also are interested in learning because their emotions are taken care, their well-being is taken care. Now they want to learn. So that is how I think we are able to balance. And it is not that we are not having struggles at all. There are children who need push, who needs extra support. And that also we take parents' help. We bring the parents up to speed with us. And we tell them that these children may need a little bit more support. And we, wherever possible, we teachers stay back and help. So there are so many ways we attend to things here at school.
Amina, I think we can take one more question and then maybe we can bring the children in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'll be great. I think I'll just ask a few questions. I know that there were a few questions around curriculum, which is how do you measure outcomes and how do you phase the curriculum for children? If you have any notes on that, quickly we can talk about that. So that'll be great. But there were also other really interesting questions about what are you looking for in teachers at the Yellow Train School and how do you train them? If you'd like to go one by one, and happily we'll just welcome the students then.
For the children also we can, shall we take this? Children have to catch the bus at 2:45. So
Yeah.
can we finish the children first and
Yeah.
take our questions? We both are ready to stay back and answer your questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's totally fine. We'd love to just invite the children.
So while they are coming in and getting settled down, I can explain about, I do a lot of the hiring and the
Okay.
HR. Yeah, so the primary requirement is love for children. That is what we look for in our teachers. A lot of energy, enthusiasm, interest in life, and definitely post-graduation, excellent communication skills, and the openness to embrace probably a new kind of a lifestyle, to certainly put children above all, and to connect with the children, a rapport with the children. Those are the most important requisites, I would say, for a Yellow Train teacher.
Okay, that's lovely. Oh wow, we have a full house. Hello.
We have a section of the student community here, and then I think you can pose your questions to them.
Okay, great. So if to the audience, if you have any specific questions for the students, please start putting them in in the next 1 minute or so. We'd love if all the students can just introduce themselves. Yeah.
You can start.
Zafar Farooq, I'm in grade 10 now, and I've been in Yellow Train for the past 5 years.
So my name is Aditya Rajesh. I'm 10th grade, and I've been in the school for a decade.
So sorry, the audio is a little muffled. Would it be possible to keep
Yeah.
if you can keep it in the middle, in the center, and then students can just.
Yeah, you can repeat.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. My name is Zafar Farooq. I'm in grade 10 now, and I've been in Yellow Train for the past 5 years.
My name is Aditya. I've been in the school for a decade, and I'm studying 10th grade.
Okay. Hi, welcome.
My name is Kavni. I am also in grade 10 and I've been in the school since kindergarten.
Oh, wow. Okay. Lovely.
My name is Abhinaya. I'm in grade 11 and I've been in the school for 11 years. My name is Tanvi Rajkumar and I've studied in Yellow Train all my life. My name is Ira and I've also been here since kindergarten.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll take a few questions from the audience and just everyone is saying hi, so that's great. A few questions. What's each of your one favorite thing about the school? Maybe we can have a few of you answer that. Whatever's popping up.
I think for me, what stands out this year is the trust that my class teachers have in us as students and how that helps us evolve as a class and face different situations and take up responsibility. Also, the farm would be one very important aspect.
Okay.
Another really interesting aspect are the groups. I think they're really well thought out and it's made in such a way that all of us learn and grow as a class and as a person in our own right.
That's lovely. Let's take one more.
Also, drama, we have like once a year, all the classes perform. So it's something that all the student has to participate. So it like really shows our talents.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Sorry, I'll just take a few more questions. Okay, this is I know it's a sensitive question, but I'd like to know what your experiences are. Are there largely instances of any conflicts or situations around bullying in the school, and how is it largely handled, or how what's the dynamic between students like?
Who wants to take that?
Who wants to go?
Well, in our school, I think only very recently did even the topic of bullying really come up significantly. And when it did come up, there was a lot of talk about how to deal with it because it was very unprecedented. But after that, after a lot of measures were put into place, I think it's kind of returned back to the way it used to be, where there wasn't that much bullying, and even if it was, it's pretty efficiently dealt with in a very walled off manner, one could say.
Okay. And what is the Waldorf manner for you? Because I know someone had put it in the question box that they want to know more about the Waldorf approach. So, what really is your
I think for the younger grades, it's more like if there is any instance of bullying, the teachers take a approach where they sit and talk with the child more than giving punishments and consequences. So when the children are younger, it's more of approaching the child and asking why did you do what you did, and trying to make them understand why it's wrong. But as you approach older grades, I think there are some consequences that are set in that are put to action, and I think that is also required. But yeah, so I think that's what she meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. I think because once you reach the older grades, you're kind of expected to know what to do and what not to do. So there has to be a consequence to limit that behavior. In the younger grades, it's more of trying to make them understand why what they did was wrong. And it's done in a very non-violent manner, one could say, the way the language is used and how it's put forth to the children. I think that's what I meant when I said in the Waldorf way.
And sometimes when students don't want to go to teachers about problems, there's also student council in a school. So many students, especially from younger grades, have like come to us. They like told us our problems, and the people in the student council helped like solve it and kind of help them.
Thank you for that. And I just realized I've been speaking for a long time now. So I've just invited Deepta to ask a question from the audience. Deepta, you had put something about the children, the difference in children's experiences if they're from different schools. And I know there's one more question around that. Do you want to just talk about that question a bit?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amina. And hi, everybody. So my question was about how different Yellow Train is from other schools. And I'm sure you guys have friends who are not in Yellow Train. So how do you guys compare notes? How do you talk about how different your schools are? Is there a sense of, some kind of envy maybe in kids who go to other mainstream or, so more mainstream schools? So that's really what I wanted to understand.
So, like I feel like in our school, when you're a child, like in primary or in kindergarten, they let you explore more. It's not only about academics. Like when I was in kindergarten here, I was barely in the classroom. I was always at the council of climbing trees. So it was
So that's lovely. Anyone else who'd want to add?
Most recently, what came up was how students interact with teachers. So when I was speaking to someone outside our school, and she said, like, we don't ever hug our teachers. We're not even allowed to have any conversations outside classes. While in Yellow Train, it's very, very often that you see there's a lot of hugging that's very often seen around here. And I think that's much unappreciated because it builds a much closer relationship, and we know we can go to our teachers with anything, be it our subject teachers or even just someone around the school. So that's something.
That's awesome. We saw that in the video as well, that teachers hug the students as they're coming into the classrooms, and I thought that was very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Deepta, do you have any follow-ups?
No, I think that's great. It does speak a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. And I see Kirtika is asking if the recording will be shared. It will be shared. Don't worry about it. I'll take another question, which is, well, I guess just the age-old question about homework and exams. What is really the attitude around homework and exams at Yellow Train? Are you expected to cope, which we all saw in the video is just not a great word.
Like this topic of homework and assessments, I feel that our school doesn't put that much pressure on us. So in my class, I'm iconic to like missing out on the due dates. So, but then the teachers still have like a really kind tone, and they give me warnings and help me to improve in that topic. So I feel those are not really a problem we face as the students in our school. So
I think homework does exist, as I think it would be necessary, but I think it's more, I think the teachers and students have a sort of communication where we can let them know when we have other projects and other significant things that are going on in our lives. When the teachers also reduce the homework or extend the due date. So that is one case where it is easy on us. Another thing is the exams. There are examinations that are like serious examinations, and we are expected to prepare for it. But also there are other things that simultaneously or just before the examination, there'll be extracurricular things that we're also expected to be a part of. And that somehow helps us to deal with the exams in a more like calm and balanced manner, and not just spend entire months focused on academics, but also on other things.
Great. Thank you so much for asking that. So what I'm getting is really lowering the pressure, knowing what's expected of you, the standards that are expected of you, but having communication when deadlines need to be extended, or what is the right amount of pressure to take. Thank you for answering that. I think we have time for a last question, and I'll take from what you just shared, which is around someone asked, what do field trips really look like at the school? But I would transform that question, expand it just a little bit. We saw in the video that Sandhya was sharing that children are expected to go into the community and understand ground realities and work with people in the community. And you also mentioned that there are extracurriculars that you do, right? So what is this going beyond the school premises look like? Have there been projects that you've done, other kind of community initiatives that you took part in, anything that comes to mind about expanding your world and doing things beyond the school?
First, our trip. So this year we went to Sundarbans, Kolkata, but it wasn't like a normal like trip or vacation. So on the trip, what we did was we talked to the village people. We talked to they told us about the problems they face. So they shared about how cyclones and floods like that are very common and how that affected them and what the government would do. So things like that. And also apart from that, even at school, so in December we had 1 week of community service. We went to Shasha homes and so we stay with them, like spend time with them for like 1 hour for a whole each day for a whole week. So things like that.
Okay, lovely. I've always wanted to go to the Sundarbans, so I'm jealous, but I'm so happy that you had that experience. Anyone else would like to add?
I think when we go on trips, the school gives us a window into things we haven't seen before, things we're not exposed to on a normal day anywhere here. For example, beach treks, and yeah, in our Sundarbans trip, we talked to many locals and we understood the different aspects of life which we don't know, and it was really eye-opening.
So you got to immerse in the local culture and really understand what are the issues or just the day-to-day living there. I think that's wonderful. That seems like the right way to do field trips. Yeah. Okay, I think just last one. How do you students feel about discipline with regard to studies, and would rate yourself in discipline? Wow, this is a pretty straightforward and complicated question. And I know you mentioned about deadlines and whatnot. But I would want to ask you, what is the conversation around discipline in Yellow Train? Because the culture is just so different.
So discipline, the word, I don't know like exactly how we would define it, because I think it's used very widely. But if I have to give one example, in grade 5, our class, so every year grade 5 goes for this World of Olympics, which is like a meet of different schools. So when we went to Hyderabad, which we had to take a flight for, one of the few times which we took flights. So at that time, there was like another school also on the flight with us. But at the end of the flight, some external passenger, he came and told our teachers that your students are really well behaved. We wanted to congratulate you all because the other school students were misbehaving and not following the guidelines and all that. And I think that was like a eye-opener for us, because our class at that point was one of the classes who were regarded as one of the more troublesome classes. But when we went outside, we were appreciated on our behavior.
Yeah, I think there's this. Go ahead.
The concept of freedom with responsibility was introduced from that grade itself. So from then, we were always told that anything you do, you're going to be responsible for it. So even discipline, you're responsible for making sure that you stick to whatever schedule is given, that you complete your work, because otherwise you fall behind.
Wow, I love that. So I would say with great freedom comes great responsibility. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we can come to a close. I know some questions are still popping up, but I know students have to move. You've had a long day, but thank you so much for joining us. I think this was such a wonderful experience. And thank you to everyone in the audience for asking your questions. We'll have a few minutes with the Yellow Train team, I think. Oh, okay. Camera just turned. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.
The children are available. If you
Oh.
wanted to 45, they leave, it is good enough.
Okay, great. No, I think we've had a bunch of questions for the students, and I think people were still wanting to ask a few questions to the staff. So if you can,
Sorry, we are not able to hear you fully, Amina. No.
can you hear me now?
Yes, now, yes, thank you, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, off you then.
Oh, okay, I'm just gonna turn my video off for a second. I was saying that I think we've taken almost all of the questions we have for the students. So I think we can go over just the last few questions that people had for the teachers and the staff members, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you so much, students. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Oh. All right.
Sorry, we are moving around because of the.
No worries. As we saw in the video, moving around is good, keeps you active. I think we'll just take the last few comments. Um, what we can do for the attendees is, I know that we are in this session for more than an hour, so I'm sure some fatigue is setting in. If you want to raise your hands and ask a question to the team, then please do that. I will bring you off of mute. We have time for maybe one or two more questions. All right, Deepika, I'm just gonna invite you to come and ask your question. Deepika, you can unmute.
Yeah. Hi. It's been really wonderful. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really wonderful to be witness to this journey. The students, not the teachers, I'm saying, like, we are also a school, like an alternative school in Purna Learning Center, Bangalore. But I do see the challenges which we go through as teachers, also to, with bringing in holisticness, democracy, inclusiveness, sustainability. So I'm going to ask, and I understand the school is not residential; it is day school. So the struggle or the challenges or the support which teachers get to be able to address each and every child, to be aware of each and every child's situation, especially emotional and social, and then to take up, build, even I understand even the curriculum is built by the teachers, because you're not just following one particular board. I think especially till 8th and 9th grade, or maybe till 7th or 8th grade. Yeah, so it would not be Cambridge alone or things like that. So to build a curriculum, to plan the lesson plans, to execute them, to assess them, to know what their level of emotional and those challenges are, to call in a counselor somewhere when required, to have a meeting of all parents and teachers for that student. I'm just wondering, like, there's a lot we have seen, as a teacher I have seen, in an alternative space there is huge. So I would really like to ask you, which are the support systems which the school has provided have really worked well, and which would you hope for a new change, which will help you?
Okay, so the support system that we have is our teachers. We have mentors coming from different parts of the world.
So sorry, can the device move closer to Vijaya ji? So sorry. Yeah.
So the mentors, they come and interact with us. They have really 30 years experience in teaching, and as Sandhya was mentioning, we follow Waldorf pedagogy, and there is Rudolf Steiner from Germany. He was the one who started this movement, and his ideas are where we go to. Along with, we don't confine ourselves with only to Rudolf Steiner, but predominantly we read Rudolf Steiner to understand children of each group and also understand what should be our approach. And as I said, these teachers who are coming also are trained in Waldorf curriculum. So they give us insights as well of how to handle each grade and how to support each grade's child different from the previous grade. So that is one support we receive as teachers. And advantage for us is the connection is not built in 1 year, as all of us know, right? So we teachers try the class for 5 years. So 1 to 5, it is the same teacher. And then we go from 6, 7, 8, we have the same teacher doing the cycle. So like this, we have teachers not doing just 1 year. So 1 year makes, by the time you get to know the child is moved to the next class. So the relationship ends very quickly. So that is how our children and teachers manage this relation also. I hope that answers what we need.
Yeah, sure. That's really, and the challenges which we're still facing.
Yeah.
I understand this, the school does grow every time, right? Changes are brought in. So I had put that question also, Amina, that this
Yes.
whenever the changes happen, especially the school growing in strength brings a huge challenge. And the changes which are brought in to meet the requirements of different stakeholders. So how do these decisions are taken? How stakeholders are involved? How you feel empowered or involved? And why, children also feeling, yeah, we agree to what is this change happening.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Deepika. I think I'll just say one thing before we move on. I think if it'll be great if you can just talk to how just the school and the students they adapt to expanding systems. That will be the last question we'll be able to take. So thank you everyone for your questions, and over to you.
How do the, Amina, once again, to be clear, how do the students adapt to the expanding population of the school?
Yeah, I think the question was for the administration as well as for the students also. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I have to say that it has not been an easy journey. We have had our share of challenges, as anybody would probably have realized. But we do try our best. We keep it very sincere, and we also are very careful in onboarding teachers. Yeah, and onboarding teachers and parents. We have multiple orientations at the time of admissions, and even when we have candidates who show an interest in coming on board and being part of the system, we tell them very clearly, this is who we are, this is what we offer. And despite that, there are difficulties or there are some disagreements at some points, but we try our best to solve it amicably. We also have some sessions on transactional analysis that the teachers and any other Saturday, the founder and the leaders of the school, we have, there is the, just to speak about how the system works. There are 3 leaders, that is Sandhya, the founder, then there is Mayura, and there is Aparna. So Mayura heads the non-academic section, non-academic activities, so to speak, and Aparna heads the academic part of it. So again, coming back to the challenges, we have regular meetings where teachers are encouraged to bring their problems to the circle. There are teacher sharing circles as well. And then we try our best. We read a lot. All of us are avid readers. We have lots and lots of books on education, discipline with dignity, and so on. There are many strategies that one could use. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that it always works all the time, but we learn from our mistakes and then we improve as we go along.
I feel to add on, one quality I have to give for Yellow Train, because of which we are able to handle this problem, is always wanting to, being aware of what is going on in all the communities, like students, parents, teachers, every time having a pulse and understanding what each area struggle is and then addressing it. Not just letting it go under the carpet. Every time addressing any situation that is happening. I think that is what we would like to give our school leaders. They really take care of that.
Yes, absolutely. And just this whole idea of adapting and continuous learning is just so important for all school leaders and anyone who's trying to innovate what learning spaces could be. I think we're coming to a close. To everyone in the audience, there's a feedback form link in the chat. It'll be great if you can fill that up and let us know what you liked, what of course we can do better. And I'd like to thank the Yellow Train team. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know your day is coming to a close. knows, but you worked so hard on the recording and getting students together and answering all the questions. Yes, I can send it on the mail, and to everyone, we'll upload this recording on our YouTube channel, so you can view it there. And thank you so much again, Vijaya and Anita ji. Thank you so much. Any last comments from you? How can the people in the audience stay in touch and learn more about Yellow Train's work?
Thank you so much. It has been a very active and interactive experience for us, and we have thoroughly enjoyed ourselves by participating in these sessions. And Amina, thank you very much for enabling us to speak to such a large audience on this afternoon. And yeah, we have a website, www.yellowtrainschool.com, and you can write to us. There are the IDs, the email IDs are also mentioned on the website, and you are also welcome to visit us. We love hosting visitors. So thank you for listening to our story, and thank you for your wishes for the school.
Of course. Thank you so much for the invitation. Would love it if all of you could take it up. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone in the audience, thank you so much again. And we'll see you in other Circle Lab events. Thank you and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.